Australia from University of Newcastle. And good evening to you, Professor Nimay. Good afternoon to Dr. Gurpreet, who is in Bombay. And good morning to all the participants from Manav Rachna who have joined us for this session. We have two eminent specialists today with us. One is Professor Nimay Kalyani, who is a lecturer in management, specializing in subject area of strategic management, decision making under uncertainty, and change management. He has a vast experience of 23 years, out of which almost 9 to 10 years he has spent in the field of academics. Professor Nimay holds a master's degree in business administration with a specialization in international business and a master's degree in applied finance. Most of you may already be familiar with him since he has also had a stint with us as a visiting faculty and stayed in our campus, interacted with you all. We welcome you, Professor Nimay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We also have Dr. Gurpreet, who has over 15 years of management experience, successfully leading strategy for developing new businesses. He has a PhD in international business from the University of Western Sydney, with particular focus on transitional education. He is the Associate Director for South Asia and looks after the functions in the countries of South Asia. We welcome you, Dr. Gurpreet.
Thank you.
From our side, from Manav Rachna, we are joined by the faculty and the students of the Faculty of Management Studies. We also have few students from our schools, both the chains, that is Manav Rachna International School and Kunskapsskolan School. We may also be joined by a few of the parents who are interested in the joint articulation program that both our universities have developed with each other. The focus of today's session will primarily be to explain to the participants and the audience the nitty-gritties and details of the joint articulation program and apprise everybody about the benefits which accrue out of the program to the students who wish to join this course. I would request all the participants to kindly keep their questions towards end of the presentation or the session and ask them through the chat box or through the question and answer function box which is there. I will now hand over to our panelists for this session. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, I'm just a quick question. Who's going to be controlling the slides, or do you want me to share my screen?
Sorry, did you ask me or did you ask Professor Nimay?
Yeah. I am controlling the slides here. I
Okay.
don't know if you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So let's commence. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for your time today and taking the time to actually listen to attend this webinar. What we'll do today is we'll give you a bit more information about the University of Newcastle. So what I would like to do is I just want to start off with talking about our numbers as well. So the university is a top 200 ranked university in the world. And so we're actually ranked 197th in the world according to QS World Ranking 2021. So that came out a couple of weeks ago. And the university has had a phenomenal rise over the last couple of years. So we've been moving at least 10 spots every year since for the last 5 years. And so yes, so this year we're actually very proud that we are now amongst a very elite group of top 200 universities in the world as well. In terms of the university, it's actually it's got roughly around 38,000 international, so it's 38,000 students from about 113 nations as well, and we have about 149,000 alumni as well. We're also have 180 partnerships as well. And I think one of the good things about our university as well is we have one of our core missions is all about equity. And so we actually have the highest number. We're the #1 university in Australia for what we call Indigenous enrollment. So Indigenous, we talk about Aboriginal and Torres Strait ethnic background so people from this background who are the original custodians in Australia. So we actually have the university actually has the highest number of people from Aboriginal and Torres backgrounds enrolled at the university. Next slide, please, Nimay. Continue on with some numbers as well. So one of the other things that we're very strong in our research as well. So as you can see, 95% of our research is at or above world standards as well. So every couple of years, the Australian government does what we call an Excellence in Research Australia exercise, and where they actually review all of the research that actually is undertaken by the academic institutions in Australia. And as you can see, 95% being at or above world standards is phenomenal as well. We're also, in addition to research, we're also got a very, very strong connections with industry as well. So as you can see, we're number one in Australia for industry collaborations as well, and we have over 300 industry partners as well. In addition to that, we get over about 100. We almost get $101 million in research income per year. So that makes us amongst the top 9 in Australia as well. Next slide, please. I wanted to quickly introduce the Faculty of Business and Law as well, in particular from a rankings perspective. As you can see from here is, again, some very, very impressive and powerful rankings. So you're looking at, top 150 in the world for business administration, top 150 in the world for management, top 150 in the world for hospitality and tourism management, top 200, in public administration, to top 175 in the world for business and economics. So as you can see, what this really says is that we have a very, very strong business school, and in addition to getting rankings, they also have very strong industry collaborations, which I'm sure Nime will also discuss further as we go along in this presentation. Okay, next slide.
All right, so I'll just take over from here. Thank you, Gurpreet. So just quickly about the Newcastle Business School, of which we are going to talk about the programs today. So the Newcastle Business School is one of the top 5% business schools in the world that have an AACSB accreditation. Now, most would wonder, what does AACSB mean? So it essentially means improved student and teaching experience, which I will again reinforce in coming slides. More importantly, enhanced evidence-based approach. So there's a lot of industry interaction through your courses instead of just through the textbook. Of course, the prestige of accreditation, because the moment you walk out with a degree that says AACSB accredited, companies are willing to hire candidates with such degrees. And here is what AACSB has also facilitated for us, which is industry collaborations. So the Australian Human Resource Institute, which is AHRI, the Chartered Financial Institute of Australia, similarly the Chartered Accountants Australia, the Chartered Professional Accounts Australia, and the Australian Marketing Institute. And very soon we will also have ICWIS accreditation as well as Australian Institute of Management affiliation. So all these things essentially mean that our degrees are essentially leading into job-ready graduates. Again, this job-ready graduates is something that we will enforce in a bit. Moving on to our, where are we located? We are the only university in the city of Newcastle. So that gives us a very strong advantage in terms of our industry relations, in terms of our government relations, in terms of bagging multi-million-dollar projects. The campus that students study is an award-winning precinct with $95 million invested in it. It's a state-of-the-art facility with groundbreaking technology and, of course, the course contents. Now, before we jump into what the university has to offer, Gurpreet and I thought it would be best to address a few things about the COVID-19 right up front. So a few things that students would have thought about is what kind of support are students getting during the COVID-19 scenario and the pandemic. And essentially what we did was, it took us less than 1 week to transfer all our classes online seamlessly without any hindrance to student experience. Our semester dates, the assignments dates, the exam due dates, all those were accommodated for this disruption. International and domestic students were given financial support during this hardship and the pandemic time. And there were a large number of support services that were provided by the government, by the university, and by welfare services. One of the biggest things that we had introduced during the pandemic was if a student is unable to clear a course, there was no academic or financial penalty for that semester. So when we said that we transitioned everything within a week to online study or study from home, we quickly also conducted a survey, and 92% of students, that is a very overwhelmingly large majority, said that the transition process was really smooth. They were given adequate support, resources were available as much as required, and the communication was quite clear, timely, and at an adequate frequency. Apart from that, of course, students were provided with additional technical support to get their hands on with online studies. Offshore students were given access to Blackboard via preferred browser services, etc. And a number of courses are still participating in projects to further enhance the remote learning experience. Because even with the current scenario, although we are going face-to-face next semester, we still have a large number of our students who are overseas, and that's the reason why we still are also delivering the courses online. So here are some of the things that are being done in addition to the classroom sessions. There's live recorded sessions that will be provided to students, so which would be as good as attending in the virtual domain. There will be constant discussions, questions, and other lecture material that will be shared. A weekly live 1 hour student consultations where students can either make a pre-booked appointment or just walk into the collaborate session, which is kind of a Zoom session. PowerPoints with narrations, extended due dates on assignments, and of course the exams. Now, if travel restrictions persist, then what? You can still continue studying online. And as I said, that there are dedicated portals for students who are studying online. And as far as the post-study work rights go, we are still awaiting on a clarification from the Department of Home Affairs, but we are hoping for a positive outcome as all other universities are in Australia. Moving on to scholarships. At this stage, we have two very, very attractive scholarships. And this is where we would really encourage all our students or future students to get the top mark possible, because they would then qualify for the India International Excellence Scholarship, where students could get a scholarship ranging between $5,000 to $15,000 per year. That is as good as getting more than 50% on your tuition fees if you get up to $15,000 per year. Moving on, why study with us? Well, as I said earlier, that our degrees are affiliated with the industry. We have a board of panel members as advisory board for our degrees that keep our degrees current and relevant to the current scenario. So all our degrees are work integrated. There are a number of industry visits that students can choose to make, like going to the biggest local bank, which is the Commonwealth Bank, to a credit union like the Greater Bank. We have the finance lab on campus, where you can see real-time trading happening on the securities exchange, and so on and so forth. And of course, the mentoring programs. In addition to those, students also get the opportunity to go for a student exchange program to any one of our partner universities. You can also go and take the work integrated learning experience overseas rather than just within Australia. There are cultural immersion programs that students can participate in, which are a kind of a 2-week program. And the picture that you see on the right is a set of students who had gone with one of our professors, Tony Drew. Colonel Girish Sharma would recognize him here. So yes, you can do that. And then of course the iLead program, which is the world leading leadership program that we use for mentoring our young graduates into leadership roles. Coming down to the bare basics into the classroom, you will be taught with academics with a vast industry experience. So what you see in the picture over here, the lady closer to the camera, which is on the first table standing, is Professor Patricia, who has a very large industry experience, and then she came into academia. And the the younger lady standing behind is Vanessa, who works for one of the local organizations here, who was also in class with Patricia, working with the students. So that's how we get work experience integrated into your learning. Apart from that, we have a peer-assisted study sessions, which we call PASS. So there are students who are a semester or a year ahead in their studies as compared to the current students would be mentoring the current students with their studies, helping them out, showing them the smarter ways of doing things and how to avoid the mistakes that they made. In addition to that, we have the Center for Teaching and Learning, which focuses more on how to get your assignments done, how to prepare best for exams, how to navigate a course with ease. And then, of course, we have a large number of bridging courses as well. So let's talk about the degrees that are the highlight for today's session. The Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Commerce, and Bachelor of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So this is a quick snapshot of the degree portfolio. Now, the Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Commerce each are 3 years. But if you choose to combine the 2 degrees together, it becomes a 4-year program only instead of a 6-year program. Now, for Manav Rachna students, you would study the first year at Manav Rachna, which would mean that your first year fees would be Manav Rachna fees, your living costs would be as if you would incur in India. And then you move to Australia in your second year of studies. You study for 2 years and you can get a Bachelor of Business or 2 years into Bachelor of Commerce. If you choose to go in with the combined degree, then it would mean you would be looking at Bachelor of Business and Commerce combined. Then it would mean 3 years of study. Your location of study would be the Newcastle City campus, which we saw earlier. Our intakes are Feb and July. So if you start at Manav Rachna this year, you would be looking at July next year's intake. The minimum English requirements would be an IELTS of band 6 with no band less than 6, or a comparable score with other acceptable English language tests. I'm just going to invite Dr. Gurpreet to quickly tell us what are the other English tests acceptable.
So thanks, Nimay. So the tests that we do accept are also is the TOEFL internet-based test. We also accept PTE as well. And obviously during COVID times at the moment, we are accepting IELTS indicator as well in lieu of, because, students are not able to actually physically go and do these tests, at the testing centers.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gurpreet, on that. So moving on from the Bachelor of Business, quickly just an overview of the Bachelor of Business degree. We are very proud to say that 91% of our graduates, international and domestic, secured employment within the first 4 months of completing their degree. Most of them can take part in international immersions, placements, student exchange programs, leadership programs, and of course, the real world experience that we spoke about. There are courses, specific courses that offer up to 100 hours of work placement through selective courses. And these can be local or international in countries like China, Fiji, Kenya, and now India as well. A quick snapshot, 3-year full-time degree, of which 1 year would be at Manav Rachna. And there are 8 specializations within the degree that you can opt for. So when we talk of the 8 specializations, we are talking of entrepreneurship and innovation, governance, policy and political economy, human resource, marketing, leadership and management, international business, sports management, and tourism. Now let's look at just quickly what kind of career outcomes can we look at. So when we talk of leadership and management, we're developing an understanding of the complex structures of how organizations work, where does the planning happen, and how does the leadership execute those plans. Not only just make the plans, but also execute them. So positions that you can aspire to are positions like business development managers, channel managers, project managers, etc. Entrepreneurship and innovation, one of the fastest growing fields in the corporate world. So apart from the idea of entrepreneurial activities where people start their own businesses, there's a new term called intrapreneurship, where companies are now encouraging entrepreneurial activities within the organization. So this can happen through new product development, new business ideologies, new subsects to existing business, etc. And career outcomes like innovation management, business development management, etc. are quite popular with this stream of study. The other is international business. Now, with international business, though, what we did was, instead of having a specialization in operation and supply chain management, we recognized that supply chain managements are no longer domestic. They are international. They go across borders, across time zones. And hence we encapsulated that into international business. So career outcomes such as, international management, business analysis, general management are some of the top ranking career choices that students make. Marketing is a very self-explanatory degree and specialization. However, with marketing, we just don't cover the bare basics. We also cover specializations such as brand management, advertising and promotion, as simple as, what makes an advertise work and what makes it go bust. When making a print, should it be a portrait mode print advertisement or a landscape mode print advertisement? Where should the writing be? Where should the pictures be, etc., etc. Human resource management, again, with human resource management, we also cover industrial relations, organizational development, and of course, our popular recruitment management. With governance, policy, and political economy, we are looking at more towards the larger government sector jobs or government advisory sector jobs that come with companies like PwC, Ernst & Young, Deloitte. So we're looking at economic affairs, political affairs, international foreign policy advisors, and quite a few of our students have done short internships and short experience-based courses with the United Nations. Tourism management as very, very popular. Tourism is the third largest industry in Australia, just after mining and education. And with tourism, you can look at becoming an event manager, or you can be in the hospitality industry or overall tourism industry in terms of, how do we increase the number of tourists, what destinations are popular, how do we manage them, etc., etc. On the flip side, we have sports management that goes quite hand in hand with tourism. But with sports management, you're looking at managing a team with, say, one of the IPL cricket teams or one of the football teams with the Indian Football League, etc. So there's quite a lot of things that work with sports management as well. Here's one of our success stories, Vibhasini Kaul, who did a Bachelor of Business. And she was one of my students, and she specialized in international business. And even before she graduated, she already had a job with the global office at the university. And now she's been working as an international engagement assistant with a large number of organizations, advertising and events, etc. So moving on, the next program, which is Bachelor of Commerce, which has a success rate higher than our business programs, with a 92% employment rate within the first 4 months. Again, the real work experience, etc. But one of the biggest things is the Greater Bank Finance Lab. So with the local bank over here, we've set up a finance lab on campus where students get hands-on experience on how the securities exchange work, how does the finance industry work, how do companies and investors make decisions on investing, divesting, when to buy, when to sell, what are the kinds of risks involved, how do we make those decisions, etc. And of course, all this happens within the larger outlook of the economy and the economic systems. So, of course, with this degree, again, there's a large number of industry affiliation, as we saw earlier, the Chartered Financial Institute of Australia, the Chartered Professional Accountants, and the Chartered Accountants Australia. There are 3 specializations possible through the commerce degree: the accounting specialization, the economics specialization, and the finance specialization. With accounting, you can move into becoming a chartered accountant, a certified practicing accountant, a forensic accountant, management accountant, or even taxation specialist. With the finance specialty, we already have quite a few success stories here where people have started working as investment bankers, investment advisors, financial planners, corporate finance managers, stockbrokers, etc. And lastly, the economics. Within economics, we do have a subset called the behavioral economics specialization, where students can choose to also become a behavioral economist or just a financial analyst, investment banker, stockbroker, or working for the larger economic sector of any country. So here is William Lee, a Chinese student who studied Bachelor of Business, and he has been quite successful in working as an analyst, as Colliers, and as an international education support officer at NovaSkill. So most of our students, as I said, domestic or international, do end up getting jobs quite easily and quite quickly, which is one of our points of pride. So while students are studying, the question is, what kind of support do they get through their studies? Apart from what was mentioned earlier, within the Faculty of Business and Law and within the Newcastle Business School, we do have a lot of international career seminars with a variety of companies that not only talk about local employment within Australia, but even global employment opportunities across the world, in Europe, in the US, etc. We have a large number of industry visits ranging from industrial plants to corporate offices. The PM mentoring program that I spoke about earlier, where seniors generally tend to support the junior students. And then, of course, the University of Newcastle BizCom Society. Now, these are societies that are managed and run by the students, funded by the university, and remotely mentored by academics attached to these societies. So we have the Business and Commerce Society, we have the Economics and Finance Society, and we have the Law Students Association. So here's a very select list of the host companies that we work with. And you will see some really big names over here, like the Australian Taxation Office. For tourism management, we have Destination New South Wales. Glencore, one of the large mining companies over here. The Hunter Business Chambers, Hunter Research Foundation Center, and so on and so forth. So you would actually see that it's not only just the private sector, but we also have the government sector, like the Australian Taxation Office, the Hunter Valley Training Company, Hunter Water Corporation, which is the local water company here, which is a government body. We have the Newcastle City Council, and quite a few other companies, small, medium, and really large ones, like NIB is the largest private health provider in Australia. NRL Business Academy is the National Rugby League, which is, again, sports management graduates, and so on and so forth. So as I told you earlier, that we will be reinforcing the outcomes of AACSB accredited degrees, and of course, the work integrated learning experience. And overall, we have a success rate of 90.3% of our graduates, which is very close to the national, actually at par with the national average, who found full-time employment. 92.9% of our graduates, which is again higher than the national average, found employment. So this 90.3 full-time employment is within the first 4 months of graduating, but over a period of 6 months, most of them had jobs. 5.6% of students continued to study full-time because they chose to go straight from a bachelor's to a master's, and where the national average salary sits at about $70,000 to $80,000, we have a median salary of $105,000. So our graduates do tend to earn more than the industry average. In fact, one of the recent studies by advisor.com.au published that University of Newcastle international students are the highest paid international students in Australia after graduation. So just quickly about your life outside of the university, because obviously you wouldn't be just sitting and studying all day long. So in terms of social lives, we have a student here from the Bachelor of Civil Engineering, Janil, who spoke about his experience of living in Newcastle. And Newcastle has an Indian association, which was established in 1972, and it consists of more than 1,500 Indian families. Even if you take it as, of an average of 4 members per family, that's more than 6,000 people just within the Newcastle region who are of Indian origin. We have a Hindu temple, we have a Sikh Gurudwara, but we also have a mosque. And a numerous number of students do tend to work and live on campus or with these Indian families as well. So here's another one, Harsimrat Jeet, who decided to challenge himself and at a very early stage started exploring the clubs and societies within the university. And he joined the local diving club. So it was essentially the extreme sports club, and learned diving, mountaineering, snow sports, and surf riders. So essentially what he really did was he made the best of the opportunity available and participated and learned as many new things as he could while it was possible. And what Harsimranjit said over here is very interesting. The equipment hire costs and the club membership fees are very affordable. Believe me, most of these student club memberships are as cheap or as affordable, I should say, as $25 per year. So before we move on, I would like to invite Gurpreet back online to talk through the video on admissions. So Gurpreet, would you like to say something before I play the video? Or?
Yeah, thanks, Nimay. So obviously, one of the things that we're obviously experiencing at the moment, as Nimay has talked about, is the COVID-19 situation as well. And in particular, there's a lot of uncertainty, with students as to, what will happen. Can they still come to Australia? Can they still commence at the University of Newcastle? So while the borders are closed, the university has come up with, and as Nimay was talking about how the universities, it only took the university just 1 week to transition to online learning. So we're expected to obviously see our international students and the students from India, while the borders are closed, we are still offering them the opportunity to enroll, at the university. And what this video is, just a 1-minute video, which talks about the value proposition of actually enrolling and commencing your studies online for in trimester 3 or semester 2 this year. So Nimad, do you want to play the video, please? Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. So obviously, I think there's a lot of questions, around the uncertainty as well. So I want to sort of address a couple of questions around the admissions process as well. So one of the things that we've done is, as a university, we've also been very flexible with students who have been impacted by COVID-19. And of course, me living in Mumbai at the moment, I know exactly what is going on around the nation here, and there's a lot of uncertainty around around the lockdowns and around when exams are going to be held, even the notion of when things around like the IELTS testing center, the English testing centers, when they're going to be open. So the university has been able to sort of take that into consideration. So one of the things is there's a couple of points I would like to just talk about the admissions process as well. So one is, we've increased the alternatives to meet English. So anyone who's interested in commencing their studies in semester 2 or trimester 3 this year, as we're going to be accepting the home-based TOEFL test that's come out. There's also something called IELTS Indicator, which is another home-based test that IELTS has come out with as well. But there's also another alternative called Cambridge Lingua Skills. Now, the university is able to, if you're very keen to join the university, we have got something called voucher codes for Cambridge Lingua Skills. So if you are interested in and you're not able to sort of sit the TOEFL or the IELTS test, we will be able to assist you be able to undertake the Cambridge Lingua Skills, and the university will be able to give you the cost, or will bear the cost for that. So if you're interested, please let us know. We'll be happy to work with you on that as well. There's also, obviously, to talk to students who are in a predicament where they may have not actually undertaken their results or haven't got the results yet. The university has something called a conditional COE, which what this means is you're able to commence your studies with the university and submit your results when you do get them. So, like for example, at the moment, we're happy to allow students to submit their final results from especially from your second semester for Manav Rachna, or if anyone is going to be doing the coming from year 12 straight into our bachelor's program. We would be happy to accept those results up to within 6 weeks of you commencing the program. So what that means is, once you've commenced the program, we're allowing you to submit your results by what we call census date. So census date is when students are fully enrolled in the program, and then what will happen is they cannot withdraw from the program. So we're allowing up to students to submit the results by then as well. And if you can't, that's okay. We'll look at it on a case by cases, but as long as you're able to submit your results by the end of the term, the first term, we will still accept you can still continue to commence your studies as well. And also around the reduced confirmation deposit as well. So obviously, normally, in order to get confirmation at the university, you have to pay a confirmation deposit roughly around about $15,000 to $16,000. But for COVID, for anyone who wants to commence this year, that's been reduced to $5,000 as well. And again, that confirmation deposit is no extra, so that money you give will be actually counted towards your tuition fee as well. A bit about the online learning as well. And so as the video talked about, is we're offering a 5% discount plus any scholarships that are available to you as well. Students can enroll in just as little as one subject as well, so you don't have to take a full load. And again, I think as Nimei was talking earlier as well, I think this is a significant value proposition, and also a very significant, I think a very good safety net for students as well. Is if you do not pass your program, if you don't pass your subject that you enroll in online, there's no impact from an academic point as well, but also from a financial point, there is no impact. So what that really means is, you can, if you don't pass your subject, you can actually come when the borders open. You can actually retake that subject without any additional cost. So I think that is a significant value proposition that students may want to consider if they want to continue their studies this year as well. Next slide, please, Nimei.
Just one question, Gurpreet. So when we say no academic impact,
yeah,
that means that it will not even show as a fail on their final transcript, correct?
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. Okay, wonderful. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we also want to talk about was affordability of living in Newcastle. Now, Newcastle is the second largest city in New South Wales, just behind Sydney. And as you can see from here, in addition to the very affordable tuition fees and the scholarships we have, the cost of living is also significantly cheaper as well. So as you can see, to accommodation is roughly 60% cheaper than Sydney and 22% cheaper than Melbourne. So what this really shows is that there is a significant value proposition, and the return on investment when students come and live in Newcastle and study in Newcastle is significantly higher. But also more importantly is when you do graduate, you're actually getting a return on investment faster as well. Next slide, please. And so this is sort of just giving you some options and just giving you a bit of a guideline. Again, this is indicative, and we've been very conservative with this as well. But as you know, I think students have their own budget as well. So, but what this does is really compare the three different options that students have when they come to Newcastle. One is living off campus, one is homestay, and then there's the options of staying on campus as well. So as you can see, they range anywhere from $290 to anywhere between $350 as well. So but this is just we just want to sort of put this to you, so you can just have a look at exactly the type of costing that you may have to be able to undertake as well. And just letting you know as well, as part of your visa conditions as well, you are eligible to work 40 hours over a fortnight period, which will then allow you to supplement the some of these costs as well. Next slide, please. And it's just living on campus as well. So I think we actually have a nationally award-winning accommodation. So our on-campus accommodation has won a number of national awards as well. We have roughly around about 1,800 beds on campus as well, 24-hour support service as well, and then so there's a different there's depending on your choice. We've got studios, and we've also got shared, and also got self-catered apartments as well. And so in terms of different catering options as well, there's definitely vegetarian options as well available. So if you have a particular dietary requirement, that can be taken into consideration as well. Also, there's also a great what we call mentoring system as well. So where our senior residents also are there to help you, mentoring you to be able to sort of, when you're new, to sort of help you adjust the system as well, and adjust yourself living on campus, but also at the university as well. Next slide, please. So in terms of what is it like, what's it like university life on campus? The University of Newcastle is, I think, it's a very vibrant, feel on campus. So, for example, students who are actually going to be studying at New Space, it's actually right in the city centre as well. So you've got you're in the CBD of the city, but even in the foyer of the New Space building, you've got cafes, you've got places to eat. You can buy lunch and all that kind of stuff as well. And just a walking distance, you've got the post office and banks and all the kind of amenities that you require as well. So, but also even at our Callaghan campus as well, there's a wide range of social and sporting clubs you can go to as well. And I think and the best part, of course, is that we've got such a vibrant student community, and I think that's what makes the university so special, is that all of our students just want to be able to interact. Even our domestic students just want to interact with their international students and learn and absorb all the different things, and all the great things that comes from interacting with people from different cultures and different backgrounds as well. But also, I think one of the other great things about the University of Newcastle is that we have very strong security systems as well, and safety systems as well. So, for example, during winter times, when the days are obviously shorter, and you may have a late class, you're able to pick up the phone and call security, and they'll be able to actually they can arrange a shuttle for you to be able to actually drop you off home. So those are the kind of things that we sort of help you to be able to make sure that you're safe, and that your primary focus is all about studying, and the safety and is sort of left to us to be able to take care of as well. But also the university is also again centrally located. As you can see, we've got the tram that we have, local tram, is literally outside in the New Space as well. The beach is walking distance rather than actually by car. It's actually by walking distance as well. There's a lot of bikes. There's a lot of bike hubs and pathways as well. And of course, we have a number of buses that sort of shuttle between in between the camps as well.
The travel options between the campuses is free, so students don't have to pay for it. And more importantly, when we talk of the Callaghan campus, as Gurpreet rightly said, the post office, the gym, the clubs, the sports facilities, everything is on campus. So technically, if you're living on the campus, there would hardly be a requirement for you to leave the campus at all.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nima. Next slide, please. So connecting with us. And so my team on the ground is here to help you. So, you can email southasia@newcastle.edu.au, and they'll be able to actually, answer any questions you may have as well. And so if you're seeking, more information about a particular program on Newcastle, please send an email here, and they will be more than happy to respond to that, email as well. And then, of course, we've got other forms of, we're on social media as well. So then there's a QR code that you can also be able to just click, and that should be able to direct you to the right, in terms of the inquiry pages as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so that really does conclude, the formal part where we're sort of giving information. Now we're sort of opening it up for questions.
Kana Sharma, are they going to be typing the questions in the chat room or?
Yeah. So I've already advised them that they can ask the questions now. The chat has been enabled for all the participants. Participants can present COVID environment. You see, earlier the students had this opportunity to earn some money, 40 hours per week that you were mentioning. Is in the Newcastle adjoining area, and whether the students will still be able to work or not.
See, the city of Newcastle has opened up again. So the only restriction we have is social distancing. So essentially what happens is at restaurants and all that, where if a restaurant could say accommodate 100 people, now they can only accommodate about 50 because of the distances that need to be made. I am right now on campus at the university. Students have started coming back to the campus and all that. So jobs are there in abundance. And in fact, what I would encourage is most people can go to Facebook and look at the Indian Students Association of the university. I think their Facebook page is called ISANU space UON, which is University of Newcastle. And you will see that about 90% of students already have a job. The ones who do not have chosen not to have one. But as far as I know, I've been in touch with most of the Indian students, and practically all of them have a job. So the part-time jobs, in fact, are quite easy. And according to the latest statistics that were released by the Hunter Research Foundation Center, which is the spearheading organization for the economic studies of Newcastle and the greater Hunter region, according to their latest statistics, we have got more part-time jobs than number of applicants for those jobs. In fact, I even know quite a few people who travel from Sydney to have part-time jobs in Newcastle.
Would you also like to throw some light on the possibility of students who join this articulation program in your campus for further studies of your global MBA program and the related alliances that you've developed with the Montclair University and the Hospitality University in Rome, I think?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I'll just quickly find the slides if I can. Just give me one sec. But in the meantime, so essentially once our student finishes a bachelor's program with us, they can go straight into our master's program. And with the advantage of the master's program is that they don't have to go through the process of giving their IELTS and all that again. They just have to extend it. Masters of Business Administration Global program, wherein a student can study for at the end of the program. So they can either end up getting just the MBA Global, or they can lead into an MBA Global with a dual degree in Masters of Science in Data Analytics, or a Masters of Business Analytics from our partner in the US, or a Masters of, beg your pardon, Fashion and Luxury Good Management at our partners at Lewis Business School in Rome. I've just found the presentation, so I'll just share my screen. Can someone please confirm if you can see this?
Yes, you can.
I'll take that. Perfect.
Yeah.
So the MBA Global, as I said, it's a 2-year degree where no prior work experience is required to get into the program. It has an embedded internship in the program. There is an embedded international study tour that is fully paid for through the student fees. So students don't incur any additional cost. And as I said, that there are 4 different options. One is in the USA with Feliciano School of Business, where students can get a MBA Global from us and a Masters of Science in Business Analytics from Feliciano School of Business. Again, students don't study anything extra. It's a 2-year program integrated with first year with us, second year in the US, subject to visa approval. The other option is they can study the Masters of Business Entrepreneurship at Aston University, Birmingham, which is the world's leading university in entrepreneurship programs. Or they can study at Italy, Rome with Lewis Business School and get a Masters of Luxury Good Management or Fashion Technology. The 4th program is the Masters of Science in Data Analytics, which is both 2-year program at the University of Newcastle. So they don't need to go to another country. They can continue studying in Australia. And the advantage over there is, again, at the end of 2 years, they have 2 masters, they get the post-study work rights, and so on and so forth. Currently, I have been told that even with the US and in UK, they do qualify for post-study work rights, where the program at Montclair State University is a Masters of Science, so it falls into the STEM program, and students get work rights under the optional training program, or OPT as it's called. In the UK, the Aston University program is a 1-year master qualifying for a 2-year post-study work rights in the UK as well. So that is our MBA Global program. And in fact, I'm looking at one of my colleagues who is the program convener for MBA Global right now. And this is one of our most recent graduates. In fact, he graduates today. His name is Jesharan Nesaraj. He's from Malaysia. And as you can see, he has found the degree to be very, very rewarding and quite successful in getting him a job after his degree. So that is our MBA Global program. So have we got any questions that have come through in the chat?
I think 2 reasons why the questions have not come is because I think it was very comprehensively covered. You covered almost all the aspects related to the campus stay, societies, education, career opportunities after the course, advantages over the other universities. So that is very nice. And one good thing is that this session is being recorded. So we'll share it with few of the participants. I also feel I saw a number of participants joining, getting disconnected and again rejoining. One reason that I could make out could be the electricity failure in their places, because of which even I was away for a minute or so from the session. So thank you very much. And on behalf of all the participants from Manav Rachna, I would sincerely like to thank you, Professor Nimay, and to Dr. Gurpreet for such an informative session which you took today. And we will keep interacting with both of you as our admission season advances. And we wish you a very safe and a wonderful day ahead. Thanks a lot.
Wish you the same, Kanasham, and I'm sure Gurpreet would be of the same opinion that we are also quite thankful for Manav Rachna to provide us with this opportunity to conduct this webinar. And
Thank you.
I'll pass on to Gurpreet.
Yeah, thank you so much, Colonel Grish, for the opportunity as well. So we look forward to actually interacting more.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.